that to do the audio, and now you can hear us.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
How about that? We'll reset. TCU 30, USC 27. Jamie Plunkett, Jeremy Clark, Steven Johnson, Melissa Treebwasser here with you as always on the final Frogs Insider post-game show of 2025. TCU finishes the season 9-4. What a tremendous overtime win for the Horned Frogs tonight, led by Ken Seals, Jeremy Payne, among others. Let's just start with the final play of the game. 3rd and 20. Seals checks down to Jeremy Payne. He tiptoes down the sideline for the touchdown. Steven Johnson, let's start with you. We were standing down there on the sideline. What was your impression and your reaction to that final play?
Right before the play started, I think we were all kind of talking about, I don't know, they might not be able to make this field goal. So he takes the check down. I think we saw him break the first tackle. And when he was still up, I grabbed your shoulder. Jeremy shouted some things we probably can't repeat on camera. And I think we were all shocked. Like, I had written the game story that TCU's comeback fell short. Ken Seals wasn't even get the storybook moment. But somehow Jeremy Payne, man, what did he break? 3 tackles? Was surrounded by 4 or 5 guys. Ended up scoring a touchdown, man. For me personally, I haven't been on the beat as long as you guys. That game, the Fiesta Bowl, still number 1, but that game might be number 2 for me. Just to come back, that final play, Ken Seals, like I asked him in the press box, like that felt like a movie. His first and only start, down 10 in the fourth quarter, top 20 team, lead a comeback in overtime. You couldn't have scripted better, even if you were like Christopher Nolan, man. It was just amazing to watch.
It wouldn't be TCU in the Alamo Bowl without a little dramatics, right?
Nope.
And we were there. You weren't there yet, but we were there in 2015, which that's still very, very high up there for me. 2017 was awesome as well. But, man, you're right, Stephen. We cannot repeat what I was saying on the sideline and amongst a lot of other people that were standing next to us. In total shock. Oh, Max Duggan was standing right beside me the whole time, and man, I loved it. I turned around after the game. Dude has tears in his eyes, and I think a lot of people had tears in their eyes. It was such a storybook ending, not only for Ken, but just the team to come back from 10. You don't have your offensive coordinator. You don't have your quarterback that you had all year. And I just keep saying it, man. I've been saying it all week. I said it to people last night in San Antonio that we saw. I just felt different about this game. I felt like there was something there. I don't know what it was, but there was just something there that I think drew me to this game, and I think it drew other fans, Melissa, to this game, hoping that they would see this type of game. And for you guys that came down to San Antonio and you watched this live and you stayed there, TCU fans came in droves. Congrats to you guys on this season and on this win, because this was spectacular.
I mean, I think this is why bowl games still matter, right? Like I think that a lot of people want to make it playoffs or bust, or the only ones that matter are the final 12 team standing. But this is this is the college football we're all pining for, right? That we all say is lost. I mean, you have a guy who sat on the bench for 2 years, who had started 20 games in an SEC program, but hadn't really had the kind of success he wanted. He's a hometown kid. He's only thrust into the role because of desperation, because the starting quarterback leaves. His offensive coordinator leaves. He's got a first-time play caller. It's a freshman running back that scores the game-winning touchdown. It's a 14th-year senior that has like 3 PBUs in the end zone. I mean, this is college football. This is what we love. It's still a plucky underdog, because TCU will always be that plucky underdog rising up against a blue blood in the sport to pull off an absolutely improbable win after being down double digits in the fourth quarter. TCU in the Alamo Bowl is what we love about this game.
It's so funny because, like you all have pointed out, we were on the sideline at the very end of this football game, and similar to 2015, similar to 2017, similar to some other moments in the Sonny Dykes era here at TCU, there was never really a sense of panic on that sideline, even when TCU got down by 10 points there in the fourth quarter. And standing in that building, we're still here in the kind of the bowels of the Alamo Dome at this point, but standing on the sideline, looking around at all the TCU fans, there was maybe an unhealthy amount of confidence almost that TCU was going to come back and win that football game. And when Jeremy runs down the sideline, toe taps very close to that sideline to get that final touchdown, it was just pure joy and pure elation. And it was such a great exclamation point and kind of highlight moment at the end of what has been a really up and down football season for this team, Jeremy. We talked about, not playing too many meaningful games in November as far as the Big 12 title race goes because of some early losses. But once again, TCU pulls a rabbit out of their hat, finishes with 9 wins. Sonny Dykes has 36 wins through 4 seasons now at TCU. I mean, what do you say about the job that Sonny Dykes has done as the head coach here?
You're going to get me in trouble because everyone calls me the Sonny Dykes defender. But, you win 9 games in 4 years. Your average 9 wins a season. It's pretty good. We're still going to always remember the losses this year. But what I'll say about this team this year is, once again, and I know it sounds like a broken record, when you feel like they're down and out, they're sitting there 6-4. They go down and beat Houston, which was a top 25 team that's going to be top 25 at the end of the year. They just beat LSU.
I knew you.
Yeah, it's part of their record, Steven. They just dominated LSU by 4 points. And they beat Cincinnati, and they beat another, granted, USC was without some key guys, but
they had their starting quarterback.
What I want to say is, again, this team, you can say what you want about Sonny Dykes. You can say how he's not a consistent coach or whatever, but you can't say that this team doesn't have a culture. You can't say that this team doesn't play for their coach. You can't say that this team doesn't play for each other. And we said it earlier in the week. We talked about it being out there at practice. We always joke about, man, the energy looked great. Sonny Dykes is going to say how good the energy looked, but it really did. It really looked good this week. It was weird. You just lost your quarterback. You were looking for doom and gloom, and here you see guys out there just having fun. And that's just what kind of gave me that optimism coming into this week, that they were going to go out there and play as hard as they could. But give credit to Sonny Dykes, man. You had a great question during the presser on Monday about him kind of taking what Mike Leach had taught him over the years. And not a lot of people expected 2 weeks ago for Mitch Kirsch to be calling a football game. And I think Mitch did a phenomenal job. I joked with him after the game. I said, "Where are you going to go coach be an OC at now?" And so, I thought he did a good job, but just credit to Sonny Dykes for making that decision. Credit to Sonny Dykes for keeping these players together. No opt-outs. Yeah. No opt-outs, guys. I mean, you had a couple of transfers, but it's just amazing. So I give him credit. I'm going to say Sonny Dykes, you could take those 2 losses. Yeah, Iowa State and Arizona State were really bad, but you can't knock 9 wins again, especially having 2 out of your final 3 games beating top 25 teams.
Can I make a point, because I'm going to forget if I don't make it now?
Yes.
I think one of the things that we've seen with Sonny is his willingness to adapt. And he was asked about Mitch calling the game and what a great job he did. And one of the things I noticed is the tone was very different than it was at Kansas State, because he talked about being down 10 and treating it like you were down 0-0, and TCU ran the ball late. They kept running the ball late. And that's not something they did when they were down 2 scores up in Manhattan a couple of months ago. And so I think, that says a lot about the way the running backs have developed, and what Jeremy Payne has given this offense, John Demon has given this offense. But I think it also shows growth. And I think the point that you made, Jeremy, about this team staying together and playing hard for each other is, really, that might be the defining characteristics of Sonny Dykes. We'd like that characteristic to also include some championships, and I don't think it's too late for those to come. Like, I think you can be frustrated that TCU hasn't gotten to the ultimate goal and still be really excited about the foundation that's in this program right now. And we'll see what happens in a couple days, but right now it looks like the culture is strong. It looks like guys are bought in, and they sure as hell are bought in tonight.
To me, look, if you average 9 wins and during your tenure at 4 seasons, objectively, it's a good job. B+, however you want to grade it. And I've been one guy that's been critical of Sonny at times, wrote some columns. It's probably maybe more popular than I expected with TCU fans. But he's done a very good job this year. And I think the preparation, the fact that we all alluded to, that nobody opted out, the fact that it would have been easy for, after Josh left, to be like, well, if Josh isn't going to play, man, let me just go ahead and focus for the NFL guys like Caleb, Eric, Bud. But they wanted to play in this game. They wanted to play for Sonny. They wanted to play for Ken Seals. So I think it does show that there is a strong culture here at TCU. And I think it's completely fair to kind of mention some of the games they lost, man. But like you said, Jeremy, We were thinking this team could easily finish 6-6 a couple weeks ago. Now you end the year with 3 straight wins, kind of similar to last year when they were hovering, I think 3-3 or whatever their record was, and they closed that year by winning 7 of the last 8 games or something like that. So I think what he said in the press conference was accurate. I think TCU right now, they are a good football program. I think he's raised the floor because if you look at the 4 years before he was, as much as we love Coach P, there's a lot of 6-6, a lot of 5-7. So now you're averaging 9 wins. So now, as Sonny alluded to, I think TCU's on the verge of greatness. Obviously, we've got to see what happens to the portal, who they keep, who they land. But Sonny's done a good job at TCU. I don't think there's any debate that can be said about that. We commit to some of those losses, but any coach that's averaging 9 wins, even with the playoff, that's a good job, man. So I think Sonny deserves a lot of credit for how this team is finished, especially how they look tonight.
You know, one of those guys that he's going to really have to work hard to keep, Jeremy Payne, because Jeremy Payne tonight, 73 rushing yards to lead the team. I think I predicted that he would have 75, so I'm going to give myself some credit there. 50 receiving yards, a rushing touchdown, and a receiving touchdown, obviously the game winner there at the very end. But he is a guy over the last 4 games, I guess, if you go back to the game before Houston, BYU. I mean, over 500 yards from scrimmage in those 4 games. He's had over 100 yards total in the last 3 games each. Really is a kid that is coming into his own, celebrated his birthday yesterday. His whole family was in town watching this football game. But he looks like he can be a critical contributor to this football team moving forward. And that has to be such a good relief for you. Something's going on with the camera. I hope people can still see us. There we go. It has to be such a relief for the coaching staff moving forward, knowing that you lose Kavorian Barnes, you lose Trent Battle, but that you have a guy who can be RB1 back there when you're also looking at replacing so much on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest thing he's shown is last year he was kind of that change of pace, kind of the slasher running back that you want to use on like third downs or just see if he can maybe create an explosive play. But he's running with so much more power now, with I think better vision, not being so determined just to break it to the outside, being willing to just stay in between the tackles, pick up 3 yards, pick up 4 yards in case, because eventually it's going to lead to 10, 15, 20-yard gains. So to me, I think going forward, that combination of him and John Denman, and I like some of the running backs they signed in this class, I think as long as you can retain him, I think, like you said, it's got to be a big relief knowing that, hey, we don't need to necessarily go into the portal and grab a guy that can be RB1. We maybe need to bring in another veteran, but we have a guy we can build around. We have a second guy that we think we can build around as well, too. So what he's done these last 3 games, it feels like we're watching the star be born. And it's just been it's been entertaining to see, man.
Yeah, such a versatile guy, running, catching the football. Another great game tonight. Like you mentioned, the numbers don't lie. He averaged 100 yards per game on the ground the last 4 games of the regular season, 73 tonight. But I look at Jeremy Payne being a true sophomore. Got to keep him, got to sign him, got to bring him back. John Denman being a true freshman, the 1-2 punch looks good for the foreseeable future. So props to Jeremy Payne, man. He played his heart out, and that play that he made tonight will go down in TCU history. No one's ever going to forget that play. Just like you said after the game, that end zone was the same end zone that Bram scored in late in the game to continue all his dramatics in the 2015 Alamo Bowl. But props to Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, the future can definitely be very, very bright for this program. But I mean, this is like you get to celebrate tonight, and then Sonny said it. On January 3rd, they'll start hosting portal visits, and they'll be working to continue to recruit their own guys. The calendar in the sport is obscene and insane. But, hey, for tonight, you can believe something special could be going on.
I think one more thing we need to include is against Iowa State, when he had that fumble, that could have easily been, for such a young player, that could have easily been a moment where you just lost so much confidence because there was other reasons why they lost that game, but that was obviously a big role. And to see how he's responded against some of the toughest competition on their schedule, I think it's a testament to not only his talent, but his football character as well, too. So if TCU retains him, I got to think they'll be very excited about their running back room next year.
Let's talk about the quarterback for a second, because we mentioned that Josh Hoover was not the quarterback for TCU in this game. It was Ken Seals. Ken Seals has been I would qualify it as a good soldier for TCU these last 2 years. Came in from Vandy, wanted to compete to be the starter, lost that job in 2024, very easily could have picked up and moved again and gone somewhere else, probably the G5, and been a really capable starter at that level. Decided to stick it out at TCU, came back in 2025, lost the starting job again, and just continued to be a professional, continued to work hard every day in practice, be the guy behind Josh Hoover who was pushing him, getting quality reps with those twos in practice every day. And for a kid that grew up in Azle, Texas, Jeremy, for a kid that played his high school football at Westford, grew up coming to camps at TCU, has a deep fondness and love for the university, for be able to come into this game, not only be the starter in this game, but come away as the Alamo Bowl offensive MVP for his performance, 258 passing yards, a touchdown, an interception, a rushing touchdown as well. He's completed 73% of his passes. This is the highest completion percentage for any TCU quarterback this season, by the way. Just an incredible performance from him, and what a cool highlight moment for him to kind of cap a really successful and impressive career.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was perfect. Knowing him as long as I have, man, it was awesome to see him perform the way he did. I got a lot of texts during the game. Man, I'm so happy for Ken, so excited, because you're right. He did wait for his time. And I'll say one thing about Ken is he's such a tremendous person. And one of the reasons why I think those players wanted to play tonight was because how Ken has carried himself as a soldier the last 2 years. He never complained. He never started. Like you said, what quarterback would sit around when he probably knowingly could have gone to a G5 program and contributed, started, and probably made an impact? But God works in mysterious ways, as they say, and he's waited for his time. And I think Ken was rewarded tonight. I think Ken was obviously 73%. I didn't realize he was that. The one pass he did have intercepted, it was batted in the air, and Chase Curtis, don't go play volleyball, man, because you missed that spike all the way. I love you, big guy, but you missed the spike. You're 6'6". Hit that spike next time. But that was really the only throw of the night that I felt like Ken, and it really, I mean, the linebacker was just made a perfect play off the RPO, didn't move, and he was just there to bat the ball up in the air. But just for someone that, for my guys, just knowing him as long as I have, knowing the family, we've spent time together. So, I mean, a ton of time together. It was really, really cool to see him succeed the way he did, and his emotions after the game. I mean, you could see it. Melissa, you got a great picture. I'm sure you'll tweet out about it, about how bowl games matter and how just games in general matter. But man, it was really cool to see Ken go out there and perform the way he did tonight.
I mean, he's so fun to watch during TCU games. He's always dancing. He's always having a great time, like during timeouts and in the huddle. Like, he's so active, and he's been such a leader. So yeah, I mean, to see him get rewarded by having those moments, it's pretty special. And again, like to harp on my earlier point, it's why we love the sport, right? And I think, when Eric came back and said, Ken's my guy and I'm going to play for him and we're all going to rally around him, I think we all know why they were so willing to do that, because of the type of person he is and the work that he's put in for 2 years. He shouldn't have come out and completed 73% of his passes against a top 20 team in his first start in 2 years, right? Like, he shouldn't have had those moments and those plays. But there's something about TCU and San Antonio and games that they have no business winning. Just finding a little bit of magic with the backup quarterback, right? Something special.
I forgot to mention his hurdle too.
Oh yeah, and he hurdled the dude. Like, what the heck, Ken? I'm afraid he might have pulled a muscle or something. I mean, this guy's got to be pretty old at this point too. So he said he did say he forgot how to run the football. So
I think he's just, even during this press conference, you can just tell just how charismatic he is. Just like, he's even making jokes, making Sonny laugh during the press conference, making us laugh during the press conference. So, and I think when you're in those locker room, man, it's a earning respect. You earn it in different ways. I think a lot of those guys, I'm sure some of those guys, man, if it was me, I would have been left. But for Ken, it's about being close to home, being close to this program, some of the people that he just really enjoyed being around in the locker room. So, and I think that was one reason we probably all kind of had maybe a good feeling about the game. Like you mentioned earlier, it didn't feel like TCU lost a guy that set the single season passing record last year. There was like a joy, there was an energy back in Fort Worth and even just around San Antonio. So like we said, man, it was like a storybook ending for Ken. Like I couldn't imagine a better way to end my college career if I was lucky enough to play than to endure all this adversity. I stuck through this process. I stayed home, and it paid off on a national scale, standalone game, top 20 opponent. I helped the offense win the game at the end, man. He's got to be on cloud 9 right now.
I do want to point out that Frogs Insider intern Colin Post is shouting out Steven's sweatshirt. Says nice sweatshirt, Steven. The little polo bear there. So just got
the important things.
The important comments in the YouTube chat right now. Let's talk about red zone for a second. TCU was 4 for 4 in the red zone tonight with 3 touchdowns. And then obviously a very important field goal from Kyle Lemmerman, who was back making kicks tonight for the Horned Frogs. That sent things to overtime.
Also a wild story. I mean,
Yep.
The dude hasn't played since week 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Comes back and makes a pressure kick with 3 seconds.
Big pressure kick with 3 seconds left at the end of the game. But defensively, USC was 3 of 4 in the red zone with just 1 touchdown. And that interception in the end zone by Channing Canada, Bud Clark with 2 pass breakups in the end zone as well. That touchdown, the one incredible touchdown catch by USC receiver Jaden Richardson. But TCU's defense, to its credit tonight, stood really, really tall when USC got that ball inside the 20. It's why the Frogs were able to come back in the fourth quarter. It's why they were able to have a game-winning touchdown at the end of the overtime, because TCU stood on its head, 1st and goal from the 2, tackle for loss, field goal for USC. Just such an impressive stand by the defense tonight. Very good work from them. Bud Clark had, I thought, one of the best games of his career in his final game, which is crazy to say because he didn't have an interception, but he played so big tonight. He did. Caleb Elarms-Orr played incredible tonight. Devin Deal was everywhere tonight. All of those seniors went out, I thought, in style tonight on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, I mean, that final series, and I think it got lost, obviously, in the incredible play that Jeremy Payne made. But to be 1st and goal on the 2 after a questionable pass interference penalty and to hold USC to a field goal was just an absolutely unbelievable series by that defense. And it was really great to see Caleb and Bud and Nnamdi and some of those guys making, and Devin, some of those seniors making really big plays at the end. It wasn't the cleanest defensive performance. I mean, USC had some chunk plays. Mavia had some pretty incredible throws, and their receivers made some ridiculous plays. They got beat deep, a handful of times. But at the end of the day, when they got into the red zone, I thought the defense really stood tall and obviously kept USC to field goals more often than USC had hoped to be, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the guy that really just stood out to me was Gil Jackson. Talk about a player that just really, I think, kind of grew up in front of us. He gives up a big play that leads to a touchdown. It just gets lost in coverage. But that 4th down, USC, I think in the same situation early in the game, they converted like a 3rd and 14, throwing one of those deep balls, one of those vertical passes. And this time it's Gil Jackson with the game on the line, because I don't think TCU wins that game if USC converts there. Comes up with a pass breakup, which basically sets up the stage for the overtime and the defense. So it was like the young guys, Julius Sims, I think, had a really good breakup or played some really good defense as well, too. So it's like this combination of young guys and then the stars of like Bud Clark and Caleb. All these guys all combining together. Jamel Johnson as well, and his early interception, I think, sparked the team. So I think TCU both, they're going to be losing some leaders, some guys I think they really are program changers, but I'm still very excited about the future of the defense. We got guys like Gil Jackson, seems like Jamel's going to be back, and some of the other pieces as well, too. I think the future is bright on that side of the ball for them as well.
I'm going to say 2 names that didn't have a lot of numbers in the stat column, but were tremendous tonight. And when you talk about those 1st down runs, especially the one in overtime, where it looks like USC is just going to go in and take an early touchdown lead in overtime. And I think King Miller ran the play, and he got just demolished. But 2 guys that were making plays and getting pushed all night were Marcus Dill and Ansel Denbua. those two guys on the interior, most of the runs that they had were kind of perimeter runs, bouncing to the outside. But I thought those guys stuffed the middle tremendously. And they, with that tackle in overtime, guys, King Miller went from over 100 yards to 99. So he did not rush for 100 yards on the night.
There
So
you
go back and check the stats. Go and look. He had 25 carries for 99 yards. But props to those two guys on the interior. And I saw Dimbua after the game, and I said, man, great performance. And he goes, wait till next year. We're gonna be running it back next year. We're gonna be even better. Just wait. So really tremendous to hear that from him, and just tremendous job from those two guys plugging up that interior of the line tonight.
There was another play there in the fourth quarter too, where King got out to the left, and I think it was Caleb missed a tackle. I think Deal he came pretty hard off the edge and ran past him, and it looked like there was a kind of a free lane there for King to get the first down. Marcus Deal tracks him down from behind, makes the shoestring tackle, and then that next play, I believe, was Gil Jackson's stop on third down. And so to even get USC into that third down position, Marcus Deal made a fantastic play in a really big and timely moment. Guys, it is 1:38 in the morning. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We know that TCU fans want to go and celebrate. Guys, let's just kind of – we got 289 folks watching us at almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Fantastic.
Hospitality Suite is calling my name.
That Hospitality Suite is calling our name. So we do want to celebrate as well. Here's what we're going to do, folks. We are going to kind of cut this one a little bit short tonight. Let everyone go and celebrate this Alamo Bowl victory. If you enjoyed these post-game shows this year, let us know in the comments, like the video, and like it on social media. Tell us if you want this again in 2026. Tell us, what you'd like to see different about these post-game shows. I know that I'm really grateful for these three fine folks for committing to this idea and for pulling all of this together. TCU Media is a small group a lot of the time, a small but mighty group. A lot of the time, it's just the three or four of us in the room with the coaches for football, for basketball, for a lot of other stuff as well.
Well, 3 of us for basketball.
Jeremy's asleep. Jeremy fell asleep, I think. But we are very grateful to be on this beat, and very grateful to be here together, and very thankful for you all for sticking with us and for watching these post-game shows, for reading all of our content, whether that's at Horned Frog Blitz, the Fort Worth Star Telegram, following all of us on social media, checking out Melissa's fantastic photography over on Instagram, all of it. So thank you so much for your support this year. We're looking forward to a great offseason as it moves into spring football for TCU. Year 5 of the Sonny Dykes era has some promise to it. And so I hope that y'all are fired up and excited for it. Any last words as we kind of wrap up the show here tonight, guys?
Thanks for all the support, man. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys for everything.
Yeah, thanks. We appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. And what a way to cap a kind of a wild season, a wild finish.
We'd love to see it. For Melissa Treebwasser, Stephen Johnson, Jeremy Clark, I'm Jamie Plunkett. Thank you so much for being along for this ride. We'll talk to you next time.
Go Frogs.